Okay, guys. So, what we want to do today now to build a very simple full stack application, and we go to use NextJS to do am. This thing we want to do today go dey very interesting. Why? Because we go dey implement Cloudinary as well as upload images. Believe me, this thing we want to you no fit see am anywhere in the internet, but na for only ghetto dev na you fit see am. So enough of the story, make we dive in. So first off, to build a full stack application, you need Postman, right? Or these are the tools where you need this. We need Postman to test our server side, which is the backend side, right? We need a database. We go dey use MongoDB to check our database. So this is MongoDB Compass, right? So now wetin go help us know whether something don enter our database or not. Of course, we need our code editor, right? We dey use VS Code. And lastly, for the front end side, right, to view wetin we dey do, and we go dey use our browser. So the browser wey I dey use here na Brave. I like this browser, makes sense die. Okay, so make we start, right? E go dey super exciting. So the first thing we go want do, of course, na to build our server side, right? Abi? Good. So two things we go do. The first thing wey I go do na say, okay, make I create my .env file. So inside there majorly now I go put all my environment variable, and the first one wey I wan put na my db, let me say db string, right? Na be the first thing I wan do. And for this I go dey, since I say I dey use MongoDB, right? So make I say MongoDB, right? Then 217.0.0.1, then their port now 27017. So make we call this thing full stack db, right? So that go be our database data right here, right? That go be our db. Make sense? So we don't create our db string. Now another thing we really need for here now, say okay, we go need sort of like a connection wetin go help us read our MongoDB, because we no go dey write core MongoDB code here. So we go dey do maybe an ORM or ODM, right, to use write write to our MongoDB. And the one we go dey use na Mongo. So e go make sense make we install am. So I go just say okay, npm I or npm install Mongos. So this command go install Mongos. Now wey this thing dey try install, and now wey we don do this thing, the next thing we need do now na to find a way to connect our database, right? So wetin I go do so as to make sure say our code dey arranged, I go come here, create a folder, make I just call am utils, because all my utility files dem na here I go want make dem dey. So one of the very first utility file we wan create na our db. So we all call am db config.ts. So the moment we do like that, right, I go wan call this my MongoDB string. Again, it go make sense make we create so make sure say I dey inside my utils, right? So inside this my util, I'll create another file called constant, right, .ts. Now wetin I really wan do with that file, na say all these my environment variable files them. So I want to import am come here, so that from here I go just call am from anywhere. E go make sense like that. So first thing I go do, I'll say export const. So let me say db, right? So this one go come be process.env dot my db string. Yeah, so it makes sense, right? So I just say as string, right? So it makes sense like that. Now we don't do that, we can I fit now call this stuff here. So for here now, the first thing I go do now to say export const, or say our config, right? So of course this thing will be an async code. So brilliant. So make we just put a try catch, right? So that we go protect our code. Then here go just here go just console log we just console log the error. So make I just say error. Of course, since now error, make it log that error. Now inside here now we can start to write our code, and it is very simple. So we just say await, then we'll call connect. Now this connect, we won't make sure so the column from mongoose, right? Yeah, from mongoose. Now this connect is a method, and it will take one argument, right? The arguments we want pass now will be that our db will call from, yeah, is our db we would already create for this our constant here. So once we do that, it will be fine. So we just do dot then, right? And the next thing we will just do now to say, okay, if everything will go well, it connects. So we'll just say database connect, database connection established. Makes sense. So I'd like to put some emoji, right, so that thing will just make them fine well. So I like these two emoji. So we save. We first thing had catch, but since we'd already call catch here, right? So if our code no connect or something happen, error or something, right? This side here go catch the error and log am to us so that we go see them and know where possibly error they come from. And so e be, we don establish our connection. But now make sure say our connection fit run, right? Meaning our server or our database don dey connected with this our application. So wetin we go do now na say, okay, we go come our app here, come this our layout. Why? Because this layout na be the first code wey go run for this our application. Make sense like that. The first thing we go do na to make sure say this layout file na async code. By calling async, we don make am an async code. So we go come here, come do await and call that our db config. Okay. So make sure say we export. Okay, so I use config rather than db config. Okay, so I don't save there, run here. Now we dey see this file and do this. So if I save now, observe wetin go happen here, right? E go show me say my database don dey established once you run. Now another thing wey I dey do, see am now, our database don established. You know, e dey very simple. Another thing wey I go like do na say I go like clean all these things so that the moment our code connect, make it clean all this stuff. So we go just come here, come do, make I do log here, and oops. Okay, so I go use the other, but no matter sha. So we call cleared here. So I remove this one because I need to use that. Shey you see as it clean everything. It makes sense like that, right? Okay, now we don't do this thing, we don't establish our database. The next thing is for us to start to write endpoints, right? And you will see how simple this thing be. NextJS is just super amazing. So inside our app here, we go create a file called API, a folder called API. Now inside there we go write all our code, right? Amazing. Okay, make we write so depending on wetin we wan do. So most say if I say, okay, I wan build maybe like okay, so make I say an image wey go take a text of name, right? Now here we go do am, but the first thing we will need to do na to first of all build our model, right? So make we come this our utils again. Inside this our util, make I create a file called model. Now inside that model, wetin we go call this thing now? Make we call am okay, I no wan use tags because na everybody dey like call their own tags. So but make we just call am tags.ts, right? So we go say, okay, an image and the tags, right? So something like that makes sense. So the first thing we go do now say, okay, inside this our util, make we create, okay, we'll do everything here, then we'll come eventually separate everything. So I go first of all say interface, we go say I tags, right? So these are tags, we want make it get a title, which would be a string, and of course we'll say image, right? So these are the two things we want to make it get. The next thing we will come do now to say interface so I'll say itags data, right? So I want extend from itags, meaning this interface what they create will get all these properties, right? All the property wey dey here, this interface will get them. Then I want make it add another property which could be document, and this document go dey come from mongoose, right? Again mongoose. And the reason for that na say because when mongodb create these tags, im go add some other things. Like for here now I no add id, but by default mongodb go add those id, and those things dey come from this our document, right? Okay, good. So the next thing we go do now na to say const, let me say tags model, that one go dey equals to new schema, right? Because we dey create a schema. Okay, so make sure say this schema we import am, right? Then now I go come say okay, title we get a type of string, make sense. I fit now duplicate this one, then come here add image. Then as usual we go like one put timestamp so that we will get the time wey this thing dey created. So we go say timestamp to be mapped to true. So by doing this we don create our schema. Okay, so wetin we go come do now na to say, let's see, timestamp timestamps. So wetin we go come do now na to say const, make I say tags data. Now e go dey equals to models. Now that model go dey inside this our mongoose, right? Dot, I go say tags. So either I use this one or model, and this model again go dey inside from mongoose. Make I put am myself, model. Now this model I want make it take that interface of this our tags data, right? Then we'll give am the collection of tags, then make it take this tags model. So this one wey we dey see red barrow here, I no know why that red barrow dey show, but e go comot sha. Yeah, so it makes sense make we dey protect our code. Then now wetin we go come do na to say export default this our tags data. So by doing this we don create our schema like that. Very simple, right? So like I talk before, e go make sense say this our schema or this our interface dey in own place. So make we say interface.d.ts, right? So na there we come put this thing, but for here now I go just export this one. E go make sense make I export this as well because we fit still use am. Then while for here we go just import that interface. This guy don dey slow. Okay, so we don import am. Now everything is fine, makes sense. So now make we start to build our API. So inside this our API, I go create a folder called tags. So wetin this mean na say to access this API we go say API slash tags slash, right? Na so, very simple. So inside this tags now, I'll create a file. Now that file must be route.ts. Na so. Then now I go say export const get, because now the first this thing we would like to create, right? As usual, we'll do our try and catch. Oh yeah, show now. Okay, so we don't get them. So try and catch. So the thing what we go do now say here I go return next next response dot json. So we'll take a status of 404, then message of, let's say, error getting all tax. Then it go make sense say we log what the error is, right? So this one go show us wetin that error be. So I go just copy here so that I go put am here, but here this one go be 200, this one go be getting all tax, and of course this go be data which we go map to tax. So you need to see tax now, but we will soon define them now. So make we define am. So I go say const tax, right, go dey equals to await. Remember that our tax data wey we export from the model. So now we go call. Then I go just say dot find. Makes sense, as easy as that. But for this thing to work, first of all, you dey see this error. So we need to make sure say this is an async code. Then the next thing we need to do now to call our database. So we'll say db config, right? So we need to, so anytime we create this, we need to establish our database. We need to establish our database. By doing this, Oga, we don't create that endpoint, the get endpoint. So make we create the post endpoint. So I will come here, say post, right? Then the next I will do now to say quest, and this will be our next quest. Makes sense. Okay, so we need those input, right? Which is the email, sorry, the title and the image. So if you remember, if you come here, we have title and we get image. So we need those two things. So how we go do them? The first thing we need to do na to deconstruct title and of course image. Make I just copy those two. So we'll say it's equals to quest. Of course, I need to do await. So quest dot json. Yeah. So once we do that, that would be fine. So this has to be create and paste that. Oga, like this, we don't create the post endpoint. Is this not amazing? We could create one more endpoint, which is to delete, right? Right. So to do that, remember that for us to fit delete, we need an ID, right? In fact, make we first of all test whether this thing dey work, right, before we go jump deep. So to test am, our postman we need to go to. So inside is our postman, we'll come here and I go say http localhost 3000. Now I use no. So if you see this one na be our local host, so they use read the connectivity of or the establishment of our NextJS server. So we'll say localhost 3000 slash API slash tax. So if I hit here now, I suppose see something. Oops, I don't see anything, but we'll go figure that out. Make we come here and run here. So I refresh here, then make we see whether we go see what we even call, what we call that our data. Okay, full stack something. So again, I need to see any full stack. Okay, see my F here, right? I need to see any full stack kinicon. So make I run here again and make we come here. So we dey see say database dey established, right? But I need to see anything. So make I run here again. So make I see http. Oops, see my bad, right? Okay, hula connecting and boom. That's simple. Chase him. Yad. Very, 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 very simple. Now we will don establish that, make we see whether I read for our database. So I refresh it. You notice change for the database, right? So that means something don enter. See am here, I catch am. Yeah, see am here. So we get these tags. At the moment, we never put in anything. So make we try put something in now. Okay, so make we go to post. So inside our post, we go come here do post. So for here now, um I go come here. So we go say title. So make we just say full stack build. Then image, right? So I need a URL. Make I just see whether I fit get. So make I see. Okay, so make I copy. Oops, that's a video. No matter. I just copy that video address, right? So we'll come here, paste am here. Makes sense, right? And hit here. Wait for it. Boom! Amazing. Amazing. Shey you see am? Na so we just do. We don get. So I just see this thing now. Make we change am. So now for here, so we go say the status na this. So we go say creating new task. Makes sense. So this is how we can create the backend side. So like as I dey explain before, make we how we fit use delete. So for us to be able to delete, make I first of all duplicate this. So to fit delete this, to fit delete this, I need the ID. So I go copy this ID, even though e no possible yet, right? Come here, do slash, paste that ID, come to delete, and hit delete. Whenever this endpoint no dey exist yet, so if I hit here, e no go work, right? So how we fit use do that? Very simple again. We need to use the dynamic routing in NextJS. So to do that, remember I still dey inside this tags. So I'll create a folder. Inside that folder, I'll put my square bracket and I will say tags ID, right? Then I go come inside there, create a file called routes.ts. Enter. Make sense. Now, make I just copy one of them so that I go dey fast. Copy here, come here, paste am, import wetin I need to import. So I need to import this. In fact, why I dey do like that? Why I dey suffer myself? Come here, copy here, or copy, in fact, copy everything. So copy everything here, come here, right, and just paste am. Good. So once I paste am, everything should be fine, except for this guy, right? So I fit remove this one, then come here. So let me make I take style with small. Good. Awesome. Now everything don import. Why this guy say, well, in head go clear anytime soon. So I go just say delete, right? Now here the thing, now yes, you need to apply small sense. But before then, make I just duplicate this, right? So that I will say, okay, patch here, right? So that you will do the full complete CRUD operation. So if you remember for delete, we no need, okay, I dey come small. So now here everything go come change, right? And now say we need to get the ID. So if you see here, you know say we put the ID. How we fit use get that ID? So through the params here, we go get them. So I go come here, put a coil, in fact, yeah, I put a curly brace, do params. So at the moment, I just map am to any, right? Then inside here, I go say const, right? We call am tags id, tax id go dey equals to that our params. That's it. So now we have access to this id. Remember, say to delete, we go say find by id and delete. Then this thing wey dey here, I will just paste like so. So here now we say deleting, right? Deleting, yeah, deleting tax. Let's say deleting this tax. So here I don't need them again, so I will just comot here and here remove them. Makes sense. Now make sure say you put this thing though, no go remove them. If you remove them, now you sabi. Okay, so for updates we will do the same thing. So this one will be find by id and update. So we need this our params id. Come here, paste them there, then come here, so params. Now make I establish something. This id wey we pass, oops, I no copy that id. Amazing. I think so I'll copy them. So this path here, this tax id we we'll call here, it must correspond with wetin you name here. If you name here something else, make sure say now that's something else you go name here, right? So it must correspond. Very, very important, right? Okay, so find by id, then the whole of, I just say for here now, I go say tax id, comma. So now just the name I want them and then here update. Then I will say new to be true and save. So this should be updating this tax. So congratulations, my dear, you've just created a full stack CRUD API. Make we test them to be pretty sure. So I will first of all use the pouch. So inside pouch, I go say okay, so make this be like II, right? Then hit here. So if I hit them, fixing, and boom. So why that they go on, make we come here, now move this thing to get and hit here. So make I check whether by now and this thing still dey run the tail. But if you see say the thing don't update, right? So if I come here, right, all tax, you see say it don't update. Beautiful. So make we delete. If I come here, I click on delete and I hit on this, my dear, we just deleted this. Boom, we just deleted this. And if I come here now, we no go see anything. Boom, empty. So wetin we just do now na to create a full stack REST API. For the part 2 of this video, we'll see how we fit use implement am for the front end side. See you in that class. Yeah.